Welcome to the second edition of In the Den, here giving you the inside track of what's happening at Swinton Lions. And today I'm really delighted that we've got with us Club Chairman Andy Unwin. Andy, how are you?
I'm well, thanks.
It's always good to chat rugby league, and it's been an interesting start to the season.
It's been good, yeah. I'm quite happy at the moment. A couple of results not gone for us, but I think from where we've come from being relegated, I think it's been really, really good. We've done a lot of things.
Yeah.
We've progressed really well as a club, and I think we're on the right track.
We'll go back in a bit more detail later about sort of the journey of the last 6 months. But where does your love of rugby league come from?
Being a Swinton lad.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, walked up Pendlebury Road to the game with a couple of my mates. Just got involved with watching Swinton.
And how old were you then, Andy, when you started watching Swinton?
I think it was 12, 13, something like that.
But you're into your football as well, aren't you?
I used to play football with Steve.
Yeah.
When I was younger, but that was more. Not. I wasn't particularly good at football.
Yeah.
I just could kick a few people. That was
Yeah.
But yeah, and yeah, just did a bit of football, but rugby was always my first love.
And Swinton's always been your club. You've not sort of diverted and watched any of the bigger teams over the last few years.
No.
Always Swinton, yeah.
Always Swinton.
And how did you get involved more deeply with the club? I mean, obviously you've been a club sponsor and all that, but what was it that sort of took you from being the man on the terrace watching the game to thinking, you know what, I'm going to put a little bit of investment into the club?
More that Steve asked me to.
Right. Yeah. We've all had that conversation.
Yeah. But to be fair, there was a period where I fell out of love with, not with Swinton, but with, Swinton really, because we'd moved, we sold Station Road.
Yeah.
And I did fall out with the old Swinton thing then.
Yeah.
And I didn't go for a few years. It took me a while to get over that.
Yeah.
And then came back a few years ago. Just sat in the stands, chilling out on my own, really.
Yeah.
Steve asked me to do a bit of sponsorship.
Yeah.
Which I did. And then slowly got dragged in.
And how long have you been on the board?
Seems like a lifetime.
Yeah.
3.5 years, I think.
Right.
Like
and you were elected chairman, if I remember rightly, around Christmas time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was in that meeting, obviously, when you took on chairman, and I have to say you were really taken aback, weren't you? It was quite a big moment for you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Without a doubt. Yeah, not just for me, but the history of the club was the big thing, and I've always said that.
Yeah.
It really was. I had to think about it. It was. I felt the weight of, not the weight of history, but it was. It's a big thing for me that being chairman of the club, and hopefully I can do the best I can, and that's all I can do.
I mean, as a fellow board member, I think you're perfect for the role because you've got that calmness and everyone respects you. People like you, which I think helps.
I hope so.
Well, they do. And what I love about the club, and obviously you lead from the front with this, is what people don't see is the amount of effort that goes in behind the scenes. And from you're almost like the official kit man who looks after all the kit, to the guy who sets up the hospitality, to the guy who puts the banners up. I don't suppose the chairman of Wigan's doing that, are they?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't have thought so, but I don't know. But I do it because I like it as well. It's not just, I don't do it because I want to, because I don't want to do it. I do it because I want to, and I like it, I enjoy it. I like getting involved, and I like making sure that all our volunteers are looked after as well.
Yeah.
Because we've got some really, really good volunteers.
Yeah.
That we can't do without.
I mean, the club's built on volunteers, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's very few full-time members of team, and without guys like yourself, but like you said, the wider volunteer group, clubs the size of Swinton just wouldn't exist, would they?
Not at all, no. And I'm sure there's lots of other clubs that are similar to us, your Hunslets and people like that. I'm sure they're all got plenty of volunteers that keep them going.
And what is it about a club like Swinton that you think attracts people to get involved? Why we never struggle for volunteers, do we? I mean, whenever we put something on, people say, I'll do that. Why is that?
It's just in the blood.
Yeah.
It's just in the blood. Some of them, you speak to some of them and it's just ingrained in them.
Yeah.
Like the rest of us, especially people who come from Swinton and Pendlebury. It's their club, and you see the rivalry we have with Salford, who's just down the road.
Yeah.
But we'd never be Salford. We'd never be supporting them. You know, we're just Swinton, and that's it.
But there is something about the club, and I can probably say this ahead of many others on the board, because most of the guys on the board, apart from one other, are probably Swinton through and through. Cut in half, it says Swinton Lions.
Yeah.
Whereas with a couple of us come from supporting other teams and being involved with other clubs, but you get involved with the club and it just drags you in. There's something about Swinton that I never knew, you know, before last October when I got involved, how much I would become passionate about the badge, passionate about what we stand for. Do you think that's different than other rugby league teams, or is that the same everywhere?
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know without being in the background of
Yeah.
any other rugby league club. I wouldn't know. And now,
But it's special at Swinton, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah. I think so. Yeah. I think we've got some really good people there. You know, and everyone's pulling in the same direction. And we might have a few people who distract us, but I'm sure that deep down everyone's, you know, really for the club and behind us.
So let's just look at the sort of last 6 months. Relegation, big night. My first official night at the club, you know, so not my fault, but big night and a lot of decisions made very quickly. I mean, rapid.
Yeah.
And this one club, one vision, new strategy, you as the chair, a real drive to make some positive change. As you reflect, as we sort of in early June now, probably 8 months on since the relegation, nearly 9 months, but probably 6 months since we really started pushing this one club, one vision.
Yeah.
What are you most proud of, or what are you most happy with about what's happened at the club?
I think the way we've all come together. I think the way the board's set up now. The coaches we've got for both the men and the women. I just feels really good at the moment. I know we can't do anything about results on the pitch, but we're doing as much as we can in the background to look after everybody. I think I think we've done really, really well. I think we've gone up a few levels, and it's been hectic. As I said before, the first 6 months was, you know, I mean, 2 days after relegation, I'm not sure everybody thought we should carry on. But coffee and a donut afterwards, we sorted it out and progressed, and you know, got going and just took the bull by the horn type of thing, and just like, let's crack on.
You mentioned coaches, and we can talk about the two guys that we got involved, but Paul Wood, his first senior coaching position, a stellar career. You know, you just look at what he did as a player. And I always say he's the nicest, scariest looking guy I know, because he looks like, you know, a proper big rugby lad, but he's a real thinker, isn't he? And a really nice guy, you know, and we had him on our first edition of In the Den, and fantastic feedback on his thoughts. You know, what is it about Paul that he's brought to the club that's had that positive impact?
Just like you say, just his experience and the way he deals with people. You know, even when I've been down at training, he's always asking me what he can do for me. And I say, no, it's what we can do for you. You know, but he's putting his own mark on the team, getting his own players. But I think we made a really good appointment, and it's a work in progress. We've said that all along. We're not expecting, you know, instant success. We've got to work at it. You know, from where we were, we can't automatically, you know, expect we're going to do really well every game. There's going to be blips all the way through, as in any sport and any season. But no, I think he's really good for the club. I think he's positive.
And as chairman of the club, what does good look like this season? At the end of the year, what will good look like?
I've always said be competitive. Ultimately, get in the playoffs. But if we don't, we reevaluate at the end of the year and see where we are, see where we've done. I've said it's quite a competitive league this year. I think it's definitely more competitive than when we was in last time. There's more clubs that can beat each other, as is proved in the season already. We're halfway through. Who knows what can happen?
Excellent. Good. Okay, you're listening to In the Den with Club Chairman Andy Unwin.